Why am I spiraling over something that is so small? That's the question that I had to ask myself as I sat in my car. Like my blood pressure was rising. I could feel my heart racing over a situation that should have been harmless and not a big deal, but it wasn't harmless. And it hit something that was raw. Something that I thought that I buried years ago. Like, have you ever had that moment where your reaction to a situation is much bigger than the actual situation and you know that it is, but you still can't stop yourself? That's not you being too sensitive. That's a trigger. And once you start understanding your triggers, you'll stop listening and losing yourself to them. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Naisha Nicole, and you know that we're honest over here and we're locked in. So today's episode is for every woman who's ever walked away from a moment thinking, well, why did I shut down? Or why did I say that? Or why did this thing or this situation hit me so hard? We're talking about emotional intelligence. And I know that that's a tough subject for a lot of people, but we're not going to talk about it in a textbook way. We're going to talk about it in the real life way, like this is why you snapped at your partner kind of way. This is emotional intelligence 101, understanding your triggers and learning how to stop handing your power over to people who don't even know that they have it. Let me take you back to a moment where all of this clicked to me and I knew that I had to make a change. I was in a meeting and we were talking about various things that had to do with staffing and pay and so forth. But that's not the point. I was trying to make a point about pay disparities for nurse practitioners and things of that sort. And one of the physicians cut me off like mid-sentence. He said, "The pay is what the pay is, and I'm not going to have this discussion, so let's move on." Y'all. In that moment, I was pissed. My blood pressure was rising real time because it wasn't the first time that had happened when we got on the subject of pay. But this time, my reaction to it, I had to go into silent mode because I wanted to flip that whole entire conference table over. Like, that is how upset I got. I don't know if it's because of the way that he spoke to me, because I'm not used to being spoke to that way. And besides that, I am always respectful and I never get out of pocket. I truly believe in being respectful to people. And so the rest of the meeting, y'all, I could not hear a single thing that was discussed. That is how pissed I was. And again, I don't know if he was just frustrated with our constant conversations about pay disparities and, what we felt like as a team that our nurse practitioners needed in terms of pay. Like, I don't know what it was that day. Maybe he was just frustrated, but I'm telling you, I could not hear a single thing in that meeting after that incident. And I walked out of that meeting. I didn't say a word. I was so annoyed, like annoyed up here. And I don't usually get that way. And later that night, because after the meeting, I had to sit in the car. Like, I had to hit one of them like scream sessions because I wanted to go off in that meeting. But later that night, it did hit me that I wasn't reacting to him. I was reacting to, situations where I've had been previously talked to like that. And I haven't heard anyone talk to me like that in many, many years. And it's like I had to reevaluate myself. I had to get aligned back in with myself. And it was just a point of feeling like he took his position and tried to dominate the whole entire situation. And to me, the meeting wasn't just a meeting. It was like a reenactment of, somebody with authority talking down on you or talking to you any old type of way. And it was a flashback of mine over the years of being in the corporate world and having to deal with, various people, and, them wanting you to be small, to be silent, and to be invisible to any and everything and just let stuff happen. And I had worked so hard not to become that person. I had worked so hard to get out of that shell of just being silent and playing along to get along. Like, I had worked so hard to get out of that. And in that moment, it put me right back into that person that I had worked so hard not to become again. And that's what triggers do. I had to tell myself that is what triggers do. And they don't just remind you of your past. It's like they trap you in that past during that whole entire moment of the situation where you're being triggered. It will trap you and make you feel like you can't move. That day, I realized something that pretty much changed everything for me in this situation. Being triggered is not your fault, but healing from it is your responsibility, and it will always be your responsibility. I had spent so much time blaming other people, blaming him for making me feel the way that I had felt, that the way that I felt. And I also blamed the other people that was in the meeting that didn't speak up. But the healing didn't begin until I stopped pointing outward and I began looking inward. I had to look at myself, not in like a self-blaming type of way, but more or less in a empowerment way. Like, what is this really about? Like, what was it that what he said made me feel the way that I felt? Like, what place did that take me back to? Because that place is the place that I have to deal with, and not exactly what he said. Like, what memory is this protecting me from? And when you start asking better questions, your healing gets clear and it gets louder, right? So that's what I had to do. I had to go all the way back to, okay, was it what he said? Was it how he said it? Or was it something from my past that it brought up that memory of how maybe someone had talked to me that I've never truly dealt with? And again, the more questions you ask yourself along those lines, the clearer things will get for you. I can guarantee that. Let's get real about what's happening when you're triggered. A trigger is basically a reaction that is too big for the actual moment, because it's not about that moment. It's like an alarm system in your brain that brings up some sort of old wound, and it's screaming at you saying, wait a minute, this is something that's familiar. And in that time, I didn't feel safe. Like, I wasn't safe. So, I want to emphasize that triggers do not make you crazy. They make you human, because this is what people actually go through, and they never address it. But when you don't understand them, what happens is they will actually run your life. They'll run your mouth. They'll run your relationships. They'll run your sense of self without you even knowing it. It's like you'll be on autopilot. And every single time that someone says something that's out of pocket or do something that's out of pocket, is like you'll auto set to that. So here's how we're going to take our power back. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pause and we're going to name it. I had to do this. When I got to my car, or even in the meeting, I had to stop myself from saying something that I may regret later. Like, when your body starts to react, you have to be able to slow it down. And you have to tell yourself, you have to say it, whether it's to yourself or out loud, that you feel triggered. Now, I couldn't say that in the meeting. I had to wait until I got into my car, but I did say, like, I felt triggered. And this is bigger than the actual moment. I truly felt triggered. And what naming it did was it created just enough space for me to choose differently. So, like, even in that meeting, when I go and look back at it, I was able to tell myself, like, I really feel triggered. And I slowed down just enough not to react immediately. Number 2, trace it back. And this is hard, because when you trace it back, you have to ask yourself some important questions. You have to ask yourself, like, where did I feel this before? Like, where is the origin of how I feel? Like, what does this moment remind me of? And like, what fear is being reactivated in me right now? Like, you have to ask yourself those tough questions, because otherwise we're not going to be able to truly deal with what was actually triggering you. It's like you're not, reacting to the now, you're reacting to something that was back then. And so it's kind of like in the health world, we say, yeah, it's fine to treat the actual symptom, but you actually have to figure out the cause. Because if you don't know what the cause is, you're going to forever be trying to treat these symptoms, and the person is never going to get better, right? Number 3 is you have to validate the feeling. It's okay. You have to say, of course I'm upset. We all get upset. Like, that moment made me feel invisible again, or that moment made me hurt again. And you don't need to, so to speak, fix everything in that moment. You just need to be able to feel it. And that's how we start breaking that pattern, because it's not an overnight thing. This is a process that you have to allow yourself to go through in order to actually break the pattern. And you have to consistently do this. Number 4, choose your response. Whew. I know it's hard. Yeah, like, I get it. I get it. I'm a woman just like you. And sometimes we react so quick to things. It's like we don't even give our brains enough time to process in order to choose what response we want to give. Because once the emotional charge is lower, that's when you need to ask yourself, okay, what do I need here? Like, is it a boundary or a breather or like a conversation that needs to take place? Like what is it? And this is how you're able to shift from like reacting to something to responding. Because again, I'm a woman and I understand, like, our mouths, it can be real quick. Like we can someone to say something to us and we've already reacted or said something before we even can process what was actually said to us. And number 5, and this is important, create a trigger map. Now, I don't expect for you to sit there and, have this whole map drawn out. No, that's not what I'm saying. I want you to start writing it down when those situations happen. Like, and I don't want you to write down anything. I want you to write down 3 specific things. I want you to write down who triggered you, where they triggered you, and what theme is behind the trigger. So, example, for me, who triggered me was one of the physicians at the company I used to work for. That's who triggered me. Where did they trigger me? In a meeting. And what was the theme? We were talking about sensitive subject, which is pay. And once I kind of gathered all of that, I could trace it back to, like, if this has happened before. Because this isn't like, something that you want to blame others. No, it's truly to understand, like, your soul's curriculum. It's to understand those patterns, and that way you can point to it the next time. And it's like you can start like layering your healing, because you have to be able to deal with all situations, even if you're working in a corporate world, if you want to become a nurse. The thing about what people misunderstand is when you work anywhere aside from yourself, you're working for a corporation. You're working for a business. If you are a nurse that works at a hospital and you're just there, if you are a physician, if you are, like, everyone has a boss. Like, no one is beyond reproach. And that's the thing that you have to understand. And they have their policies, they have their procedures, and that's just what it is. So, you have to be able to deal with people that are more triggering than others. So, like, understanding your triggers doesn't necessarily mean that you'll never get upset again. It doesn't. Like, even after that meeting, I personally had another incident with the same person, but just like a different situation where I got upset, but it wasn't triggering. It was just a disagreement. And I was fine with that. And I mean, I think the important thing is that you stop confusing emotional pain with, like emotional truth. And that's so hard. I know, like, it's so hard. Like, it means that you respond more with awareness and not reacting from an old wound. That's what that means. And like, one of the most powerful things that I've learned through this whole entire situation is that every single trigger is like, is an invitation. Like, it's an invitation for you to look inward. It's an invitation for, you to heal what is still like an outlier, what is still raw to you. And it's an invitation for you to be able to reclaim who you really are before, the world taught you to shut down, before the world did you so bad. And to me, this is real emotional intelligence. It's not theory. It's not fluff. It's every day doing things and getting better. But, it is the kind that makes you trust yourself again. Like, that's what it is. You want the type of emotional intelligence that allows you to build that trust back up with you again, with yourself again. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to respond to this. Don't keep scrolling. Respond to this. And I want you to tell me what's been triggering you lately. Like, what's been triggering you lately? And what part of you still needs to be heard? Because I asked myself that, like, what's been triggering me lately? What part of me needs to be heard? And then what can I do about it? Do I need to remove myself from the situation? Like, do I need to dig deeper within myself? Like, those are important questions. So I want you to let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to go deeper into, emotional control, into boundaries, and into healing your power, hit that subscribe button, because again, this is a series that we're doing, and we're going to keep going. I'm enjoying this series, and I hope that you're enjoying this series, because all of this is information to better help us get to that point where we have emotional control and we create boundaries and we heal ourselves from the inside out, right? So hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment, and let me know, like, what boundaries have you set? Let me know about your emotional control. Like, what do you do on a day-to-day? Like, is there anything that you practice to help you with your emotional control? Share this video with anyone who needs to hear it, because I know that someone is going to need to hear this, or at least to hear what I'm saying. This is the work, and we're going to be doing this together, because like I said, we're 100% locked in over here. Oh, and by the way, my hair is like this because I am about to go on an international trip. So I personally don't like for my original hair to be, this is my original hair, but I don't like for my hair to be exposed to different climates and different heats and things of that nature when I travel. I've had that situation happen before, and it was terrible. So that's what we do. We learn from the mistakes that we have, and we do something to, so that we don't have to go back through whatever we had to go through, right? That's that honesty. That's this relationship that we're building. My name is Naisha Nicole. I truly appreciate you. Catch the next video. Oh, and YouTube's going to recommend the video, and it's probably going to be right here. So I want you to like, comment, subscribe, watch this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Peace.